Hi and welcome to Jen's InkSpot. It's been a while since I shared a video with you, but today I want to share how to make an interactive camera card. Here's an example of one I've already put together using the Instacamera in the stamp set we're going to be using, and you pull on the tab and you can see that the sentiment pulls out. The stamp set that I'm going to be using is from Catherine Pooler Designs, and it is this Oh Snap stamp set. You can see that there are 4 different camera options in this set. They're all super cute, and the one that I've stamped here is the one we're going to use for the card I'm making today. I'm going to color in the image with my Copic markers. Once I have the image colored in, I'm going to use the Oh Snap dies that coordinate perfectly with the stamp set. As you can see, there are 2 circles in the dies, and if you leave those on, they line up perfectly with the camera, and then once you die cut it, those images will pop up. I use just a piece of post-it note tape to keep it perfectly in place when I put it through my die cut machine. As you can see here, once it's die cut, those circles pop out, and then you can use foam adhesive to pop them up. It just makes it a little dimensional, gives it a fun look for the camera. Here are the colors that I used to color in my image in case you are wanting to know which ones that I used. So now I'm just going to mark a line on my card front so that I can line up my camera easily, so that as I stamp the images across the page, they'll all be relatively even. I was finding I was having a hard time getting them stamped perfectly without the line, and so this really helped to give me a good guide. And then once I am finished stamping all of those, then I will erase that line and no one will even know it was there. So I'm going to begin by stamping my main image, and this will be the image that will have the pull-out tab. So I want to line it up sort of on the side because I need room for the pull-out tab to fit inside my card. So by putting it on the edge, that gives my tab room inside the card to be hidden. And then I just continue to stamp the camera across that line, lining it up straight, and then I'll continue stamping the rest of the camera images along the tops and bottom edges. I'm going to go in now and use my white eraser to erase the line that I had drawn earlier to help me line up my camera images. I like to use a white eraser because it usually doesn't leave a mark, and this is just one that I found in the craft store and it's worked really well for me. So like I mentioned before, this is where my main camera image is going to go, and so now I need to work on my sentiment strip and then hide it underneath the camera image so that you can't see it. So now I've cut a strip of cardstock that will be what you pull out of the camera, and I've cut it so that it is the side of the camera. That was kind of off screen, so you didn't see it very well. I apologize for that. Now I'm going to stamp the sentiment onto that sentiment strip. I'm going to use this stamp set called Happy Birthday Many Ways by Catherine Pooler, and I'm going to use the Wishing You a Happy Birthday. I'm going to stack those sentiments on top of each other so that they fit on the strip, keeping in mind that my strip cannot be longer than my card so that I can hide the strip inside the card. I'm going to stamp the Happy Birthday in spruce ink from Catherine Pooler Designs. Again, I apologize that this is off camera. My camera moved and I didn't realize that it was so much lower. But the first line will say Happy Birthday, and again it's in the spruce. And then I'm going to use Wishing You a with Coral Cabana ink, also from Catherine Pooler, and that is going to be stamped on top of Happy Birthday. That way I knew exactly where to line up the Wishing You a, since it's a tad bit longer than Happy Birthday. Here's what the sentiment strip looks like, and as you can see I also wrote with a black pen pull on the side so that they would know what to do when they receive the card and that they would know that it is interactive. So now I need to cut a sliver in my camera card so that I can slide the sentiment strip in and out. So I'm going to use a knife, and I'm going to use the cut-a-line from Sweet Petunia that's also available in the Catherine Pooler store, and I'm going to slice that end right down the side of the camera so that my sentiment strip will be able to slide in and out. I'm going to test my strip and see if it fits into the piece that I've cut or not, and as you can see, it slides right in. So now that we have it so that it'll slide into the card front, we need to make sure that it doesn't go too far. So once you pull it out the other end, you're going to have to create a track for it. So what I'm going to do is take this little piece of cardstock here and attach it to the back side of the card. And the reason that I do this is because that'll stop the strip from going any farther. You don't want to pull the strip all the way out. So this creates a little notch, and I'll cut the ends off a little bit. I'm taking the sticky off here because I put a little bit too much adhesive, and so I'll link that tool down below, but it's a powder bag that will take that sticky right off. And then I'm cutting off the little tab so it's not quite as large with my Cutter Bee scissors, which are my favorite scissors to use for projects like this. They're great, nice and sharp, and just good little scissors to have in your craft stack. So now you can see when I pull on the tab, it stops where I want it to stop so that it doesn't come all the way out. But now we need to make it so that when you push it in, that it doesn't get lost inside the card and then it has a place to stop. So I'm going to create a track with foam adhesive. I have this huge roll of adhesive that I bought that lasts me forever. You can get much smaller rolls too, of course, but I'm going to put this all around the area where this sentiment needs to be. Keeping in mind it has to be a little bit larger than the knobs because the knobs have to fit through it too. So I'll start by creating the stopping point. I don't want the sentiment strip to go any further than where I just put that tape down, so that will stop it. It'll make it so that it can't go any further. And then I just take smaller pieces and just surround that area so that that sentiment strip will stay inside that area. It's much like a shaker card, and you put sequins inside, and you don't want your sequins to go anywhere else except inside that area. That's the same concept as this, that you want your sentiment strip to only be inside where that track is. So I'm also going to put the foam adhesive around the outside of the card as well, because the entire card needs to be popped up. So I just continue to do that until I have the card completely filled. Once I have all of my foam attached, you can see how there's a little bit of a track or a guide inside that the sentiment strip is not going to be able to come out of once it is adhered to the card front. So here's kind of how it works. It slides back and forth. It stops where you want it to stop. You might have to experiment with it a little bit just to get it so that it's completely right. Once I have that done, I'm going to attach it to my card base. I'm going to use some of the Bearly Art Precision Craft Glue that is also carried in the Catherine Pooler shop to attach my camera to the front of my card base. I also use my ATG gun on the sides of the camera where it is a little larger, and then used the craft glue where I needed a smaller, more precise place of glue, like around the flash of the camera. And then I just put my pen into my craft glue to keep it nice and fresh. I want to pop up my lens and also my flash, and so I'm going to take a small piece of foam dimensional tape like what I used before, and I'm going to put that on each of the places where I'm going to pop up those images. And again, it just creates dimension, and it creates just a little bit of fun look to the card. It makes it so it's not completely flat. It also draws attention to that area where you want the attention to be, because that's the main focus of your card. So I just adhere each of those pieces. Again, I've already colored them. I did add a little bit of a white gel pen on the side of the lens so that it looks like a little bit of a reflection. Here's the result of the end card, and here it is with the sentiment strip being pulled out, and it should make your recipient very happy to have an interactive card to play with. Here's one more look at the card we just made. Here the sentiment is still pushed in, and then here the sentiment is pulled out. Thank you so much for watching today. All of the supplies that I've used in today's card will be linked in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.